this talk here, I'm actually going to talk about holocracy. I think that's what it calls it. I don't know about it today, but it's really cool. So in holocracy, basically, it's what Zappers, the shoe company, run on. And basically, it's like this. You basically have your founder's house. And found houses are independent. They're independent. They're not under our corporation unless they're a found house that we own, right? Most found houses are going to be independent houses. Whether Drew decides to maintain this as Entrepreneur Island, an Entrepreneur Island is a found house space, right? People can come here and launch their found house, but the house itself isn't part of the found ups umbrella. Does that make sense? So I'm going to have programs and everything else, and he's like, great, go for it, bring people in, do your found up stuff. So this is what's known as a partnership relationship. I should talk about that. There's going to be basically three kinds of found up houses, I think. So one is that partnership. One is I would say, what do we call it? This was a holding area. And one is basically a rental. So we have partner, rental, holding. So partner is like this, in this case, Entrepreneur Island, Found Ups Corp, we're working together, saying, what I'm doing helps him, blah, blah, blah. So the opportunity is if you can do what I'm doing, find a house, like a half house around, and say, hey, come in there and start changing things around, and use me as like a model, say, hey, this is what Charles doing as part of Found Ups, and if you're a patron, do that. Because as a patron, you get access to those founders. So the only requirement for using the name Found Ups, as long as it doesn't do anything illegal is to be a member. If you're a member, you have the franchise access to Found Ups. And in the future, we'll have like a franchise document. Like when you become a member on foundups.com, when we launch it as our own crowdfunding site. As part of the terms and agreements, we'll have this long thing that talks. I'm not worried about it right now. The attorney will lay that out. But it will be in there like you can't grow pot and sell pot out of a founder's house, unless it's Colorado, where you can have a small thing. You could turn a founder's house and have that as a product, but you can start selling it, regionally, internationally. You can't start violating the laws. In doing so, you take all liability for that. That sort of documentation for people who basically could hurt the brand. Okay? So within the fountain house, there's different areas. There's the organization. There is the permaculture aspect. There is the cleaning aspect. There's all these things, and within each of these areas, basically a leader. This is going too small, but there's a leader. It's too small. And there's supporters. Right? There's people. So one person, the found house manager, I don't have a title for him, is our found house. So ultimately, doesn't have that, it's not decision, but these guys run it, he's just there. But if there is a situation that he needs to step into because it's not, he can make it look, that's very rare. These are things department heads. These are guys who are assistant. So this is kind of like the manager basically, they're, I was like describing it, in a way it's kind of like terror cells. They're autonomous. If this goes away, if the manager's not there, it works fine, right? Some of them interlock, and that's where we had a lot of conflicts. Because, for example, Tyler, he's great, he's a great guy, we're getting on really well now. There was some conflict, as I talked about before, function and form, right? Function and form. So he's all about form, I'm all about function. That's a good analogy, function and form. I'm a function guy, he's a form guy, which is aesthetics, systematics. And ultimately, I was encroaching on his territory because my organization, and I'll show you an example. So this is some of my organization, right? This table wasn't here, but as someone who cooks, right, I wanted access to a surface that would allow me to put the herbs, because the way he had it, I had to walk all the way over here to find herbs. So my adaptation to that was to move the tray, first time to here. And then I didn't like that, so yesterday I put a table in here, which was ugly, and I put the tray, and I left it out here as a way to show him, but he took it as offense, like I was, threatening his space, which I probably was subconsciously. I probably was kind of like, here you go, you can clean it up. That caused the problems. But then here's the form, here's the solution. I found this table, it's actually a kitchen table, it's perfect, it's, and it's there. Some other form stuff is right here, or function stuff, basically in the Found-Up permaculture or the Found-Up system sustainable living certification. I'm going to teach you about how you basically, collect and manage. I've got videos on this. This is chocoy, whatever. I'm trying to get to go grow. These are the baby. I don't know how you say it, but it's the kind of a radish. It's really good that I'm trying to plant. So every time I buy a bag of that, I'm planting a bag of it. So basically, actually I just thought of some other things. What I noticed was they were going through an ornament, they were just throwing all these bags, using them one time and throwing in the trash. Highly wasteful, right? Because I know from my experience, I need bags for seeds, I need bags for all sorts of things. So what I've done here, again, function, took this old power drink thing of, and used dried inside out Ziploc bags. The way you know they're used is after you use them, you turn them inside out to wash them, and you leave them inside out because that basically tells you that they've been used. And as I write here, these bags will be used for saving seeds, objects, and other things. They are not used as a food storage for unwrapped meats, meat produce, and food items. And I don't know that's a completely fragmented dyslexic sentence that is there just to confuse you more than educate you. Basically, what I was trying to write, is that these bags could be used as a storage bag, like in this case, someone put a smaller Ziploc bag right here. You got a small Ziploc bag, and they're using this larger one as an outside bag. So why would I need a new bag for this? I just reach in, grab a used bag that's already been cleaned, turn it inside out, and store this item that's covered in there, right? With exception, you wouldn't store meat. So, or you could. I mean, it depends on the house. I mean, here is another example. You could use a storage, a used bag, in a sense that this meat product, someone cut open. I don't know that was me. looks like, yeah, I did this originally. This is how bad these are. They don't open up really well. Okay, let's see market. So this bag needs to be in something else, and you can use a used bag. It's up to you. I mean, probably in this case, in this house, I'm probably not going to do it. Because you are getting the essence of the bag in here, right? But ultimately, make sure it's always zip-locked. You gotta take the time. A lot of people don't take the time to fluff it all up. Put it all in. But here's another example. Take this here. Now I wouldn't put these in a used bag, right? You have to go in a new bag. But this bag, if I wanted to store this and this together, could be stored in a used bag. Makes sense. So we can keep stuff stored together, right? So, in dealing with the house, there's different areas and different responsibilities. So, but the house manager is just there as a guy to help facilitate the organization. That's his role, right? And also making sure that the mission of the house is being met and not being there's no conflict with it, resolving issues. In this case, I'll have videos where he's going to talk about the management system and everything else that will get there, right? And that's stuff that we'll probably learn, that Drew will teach as part of his master class when he comes there. When we run the course, the last week of the course is all about that. So everything, how we run everything, set it up, and what I want to do is create systems for that. So holocracy ultimately is a system of basically having groups that are independent, that can function, and then having support people as part of it. And ultimately, sustainable living, and this is the conflict that came with me, is also I'm coming in, and so here I am on the outside, and guess what? Permaculture affects organization, as I showed. And I'm going to show you like this here. Like when I came here the first time, there was no recycling. Everything was going in, there was just 2 bins. That's basically recycling, this one's trash, and now we have this. So what I realized is we need organization because people don't know what's trash and people don't know what's recycling because we have a lot of foreigners coming in. So we've separated the cans and we're actually going to put a poster board here that's going to actually have objects that are for recycling. So another thing here is I'll talk about another video. It's basically this called the planting bag, and I'm going to test this. And basically all of this is just going to be planted in one pot, and whatever grows will be replanted. So very easy. I'm going to show you a very easy system on how to do that. But I'm developing super easy grow systems. Here's some more seeds. To get things growing. I don't necessarily know what they all are. I'm not worried about that. I'm not anymore about that. But this entire bag here, I have it in a Ziploc bag, is up here. This would be not a used bag. This is a used bag, right? So I would use used bags for this because every week I'm going to have a new one going, and these will go. Basically, these will go in the garden tomorrow when I work on it. Hopefully, when I get the planter filled, that's that. I really didn't do the whole holocracy talk very well, but you can Google it, look it up, and I need to Google it too. But you get an idea of the kind of functionality of how the house is going to work. I'm going to upload these videos. I hope you enjoy it, and I appreciate you